Yo guys, sorry you already know that today I'm here to recap week 24 of my 2025 video game backlog journey. Link in the description if you need the full explanation, but as always I'm going to go ahead and with the same format where I'm going to recap the previous week, things that I've played, things that happened. Then I will dive deeper into each game that I played, and then I will preview the week ahead. This past week, for the purposes of this list, probably wasn't super exciting. Where we left off, I was playing Bioshock, I was playing Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and I was still working on Clear Obscure Expedition 33. None of that has changed. I'm still playing all three, and I have not finished any of them. The hours played for Clear Obscure is accurate and up to date. I am a little over 22 hours through the game, and yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to it, but that should be, you know, getting closer to the end, but who knows? I really don't know. In terms of events and stuff that happened, there's really not much to mention. I have been adjusting to a new work schedule, which I have found has given me slightly less hours to put into video games this week specifically, because I also had to work part of last weekend. So each week is going to not be as consistent as before, because there's going to be some weeks that I have more free time than others, because there are going to be times that I'm working more days in a row, and then there's going to be times when I'm working less days in a row. So it's going to change on a week-by-week basis. The one thing that I do have to add to this list is I did start playing another game just a little bit, and I started playing Lost Records Bloom and Rage, which is a game, I think part 1 came out in like February, and part 2 came out in like April or May or something like that. So this is by the same people that make Life is Strange, so that is exciting. So we're going to go ahead and just add this on. This is I'm playing it on PlayStation, and if I had to guess, I'm probably 1 to 2 hours in. So that is the new thing that I started. The reason being because I think I was at, despite the fact this is a PlayStation, I feel like I've been playing it more at my computer. It just feels like a game to do that, and I at the time just did not feel like playing. I was playing Bioshock and I just didn't feel like it. I wanted to play something else. While I was at the computer, I installed Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, and started playing it. So that is a new addition to the list this week, but that is it, and I don't really have any other notable events to say. There's no new games that came out that are worth mentioning that I know of. So I'm going to go ahead and just go to the next part of the video already, and I'm going to dive into each game that I played, and I don't even know where to start. I guess I'll start with the backlog games. So I'll start with Bioshock, and Bioshock has continued to be a little bit of an up and down experience for me. The vibes, the atmosphere, all that is very good. The gameplay is a little bit janky, and I've sort of run into an issue with difficulty. And it's more of just like difficulty balance in terms of fun. I have noticed that I do play a little bit reckless, so this is a little bit of a skill issue, but there are times when I'm playing on normal that I find myself running out of ammo, running out of basically like health, and like it basically becomes almost impossible. And so there's been sections of the game where I'm like, all right, well, let me turn it to easy, and maybe that'll be a better balance. But if you turn the game to easy, all of a sudden, like you barely take any damage, everything dies in like 2 to 3 hits. I end up like maxing out on like first aid kits and stuff like that in a matter of minutes. Like it becomes the easiest thing of all time, and I kind of wish that there was a halfway point between easy and normal, or easy and medium, to make the game just feel a little bit better difficulty balancing wise. But vibes are nice. There are options to progress through the game easier, so it's not like I'm getting stuck per se. I just don't like being in situations where I have no first aid kits, no ammo, and I just gotta have to run around in circles and hope for the best. So when I'm in a situation like that, I'll turn it to easy, and then 5 minutes later, I'm maxed out again. So I'm kind of just toggling back and forth, but I don't know, that's not like my favorite thing. But yeah, Bioshock's still a solid enough time. I feel like overall, I'm probably gonna have a slightly lower opinion than I used to, but I do see myself playing it through to the end, because I don't see why I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say on that, so I'm going to go ahead and just move on to the next game. And the next one I have a little bit more to say about, and more in a positive direction as well, and that is Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. That has been a fantastic experience. I have been really, really enjoying my time with the game. I want to say maybe not quite halfway through. The in-game tracker, when you go to continue your save file, it gives you a percentage but I think that might be an overall percentage of like everything, including optional side missions and whatnot. Which I have not been doing all of them because I have tried to do a couple of the side missions. The problem with those is that there's no like objective markers to really tell you where to go. Like there is when you first start the mission, and then as soon as you get a side mission, it seems like you have to figure the rest out yourself. And I just don't. The maps are a bit too big to be letting me off on my own and being like, oh, you need to find this specific thing, and then just like give me free range to the whole world to like find it. That's just not my favorite thing, but they are optional side missions, so it's not really that big of a complaint. All of the main missions have very clear markers in terms of where to go and what to do. But the gameplay of Ratchet and Clank has been very, very fun. Really just getting new weapons, adding it to the arsenal, and then swapping around. The weapons have a level up system, so I always like continue to prioritize weapons that are like a lower level, which gives me an excuse to use new weapons and different weapons all the time instead of just doing the same thing over and over again. It helps keep the game feel fresh, and it has been a lot of fun. It's very easy to just continue to progress. There's been a couple of, somewhat challenging combat encounters, I guess, but for the most part, you can get into a pretty good rhythm of combat and flow, and using all the different guns. Ammo drops like crazy, health drops like crazy, and I'm just making progress. It's just really nice. I think like the game is beautiful. It looks great. It plays great, and it is becoming one of my favorite platformers for sure. I am really enjoying my time with Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I have found no trouble finding the motivation to sit down and play it, because every time I stop playing it, I'm just excited for the next time that I get to play it. So I thought I'd be able to finish it by this week, but I did not quite have enough time set aside to do that. But it is what it is. So that is where we're at with Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I don't expect things to change in terms of my opinions on it, but I will update you on that next week and moving forward. So now we can go ahead and transition to some of the new games that I'm working on, which I will go ahead and touch in on Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which is continuing to raise higher and higher in my all-time favorite games list. It is just incredible. The combat is so much fun. I am finding myself better at it for the most part. Just the different attacks, combinations, character combinations. It's fantastic. I'm gonna touch on spoilers in terms of where I'm at. But I am inside the monolith right now, so I don't know if I'm in Act 3 yet or not, because the game doesn't actually define the acts. I feel like that is something that the players, community, whatever have done. I might be wrong on that, but I know that I'm like fairly close to the end. My characters are all around level 40, and I think I've heard that like upper 40s to like 50 is like end game level. So I'm definitely getting close. I definitely probably have a few more major stuff to get through, but I'm really excited. I'm still loving the game. I found myself doing a little bit more optional stuff as well, which is also helping me to get stronger, and I'm getting stuck on bosses and stuff a lot less than I used to be. So that is really cool. There was even one boss that I died to, and it has like 3 phases, and I think I died during the 3rd phase, and then the next time I did it, I did so much damage during the 2nd phase that I killed it before we even made it to the 3rd phase, and that was really exciting to do. So that was cool. But that's sort of my Clair Obscur thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the final game that we're talking about today. This video is the first time that I didn't lead with, oh, this shouldn't be a long video, and of course this is the one that's going to end up being short somehow. But yes, I started playing Lost Records Bloom and Rage, which, like I mentioned, is from the people that make Life is Strange, or at least the same company. I don't know if it's the exact same developers, because sometimes there's like sub teams and whatnot, so I have no idea. But it is more of like a narrative adventure. It seems to be about this girl whose name is Swan, who is reuniting with some friends after 20 years or so of not seeing each other, and it kind of goes back and forth of you playing in the modern day and sort of running into them, but mostly it's or in the past, and you like right now I'm like meeting or I've just met this like friend group, and so I'm assuming that I will play through some adventures that they went on, but it's very like narrative driven. and the main character takes a lot of videos with like her camcorder and stuff like that, so there is a little bit of a gameplay element with recording stuff with the camcorder and making memoirs. It has a lot of charm, has a lot of personality. I don't get vibes that this is going to be like one of my all-time favorites, but I do get vibes that this is a pretty solid game, and you know, it is pretty fun. I'm hoping that I like the characters a little bit more. The main character is a little bland so far, so hopefully she livens up as she is around what seems to be a very energetic friend group, but I am really at the very beginning of learning the dynamics of the friend group, so I don't really have like favorites. I don't really know a lot of details yet, but I am interested to continue to play and just work my way through. I don't expect to play through this very often or very quickly. I'm still going to prioritize like backlog games, but I figured it was worth throwing in because there are some games that came out this year that I wanted to play and didn't play at the time. This is one of them. So instead of leaving like 5 games for me to play in November and just trying to like hurry up play games for the end of the year, I want to sprinkle it through throughout the year. But that is where we're at right now. So we can already transition to the final part of the video where I'm going to preview the week ahead. The week ahead, like I said, my hours are different each week. But this week, I do not work the weekend, which should give me more hours to play. Because, yeah. I also, well, yeah, no, this weekend, I'm just going to be off. I don't have any, like, major plans. And then during the week, I generally can still set aside at least an hour to play, so there is that. I do expect Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart to be completed by next week. I don't see why it wouldn't be. Bioshock, it just kind of depends. I do think I'm probably playing through at a faster pace than the 16 hours because I do feel like I miss optional things like all the time, and I have done it before, and I'm also sometimes changing it to easy when things get tough, so I'm probably playing through at a faster pace than that. Ratchet & Clank, I'm not entirely sure. I'll probably hit it around that mark. I think I'm at like I'm probably somewhere in the 5 to 7 hour range. I'm not entirely sure. I don't have an exact playtime number on that. So, but I have been prioritizing Ratchet & Clank more than the other games. So that is one that I expect to finish. And then I will just continue to make progress on these other 3. I do have 9 Souls installed, ready to go if I feel like it. If I do finish Ratchet & Clank, I will probably want another PlayStation game to at least be at the ready. So any of these are on the table in terms of a PlayStation game that I want to play. This is more like a vibe of playing where I just chill out like out in the living room and just kind of do that. Like, I don't think Life is Strange is that kind of vibe. Like, when I played the first one, I basically played it like at my computer. There's just a different experience to like playing a game with like headphones in. It's like there's something to just like the different seats in the house for different vibes. I can't really explain it, but it's just something that works for me. So I would say that any of these others is more likely to be played. I might just like throw on like Shovel Knight or like Medieval, or I might just dive into like Neo. I have no idea. Also, something that I should have said that did happen over the past week is Disco Elysium went on sale on Steam for like 75%, so I was able to buy it for like $10. So this is now a Steam backlog game, not PlayStation. So I will probably reorder and reorganize that. I might keep it as is. I'm not entirely sure. But no, I ended up switching this around. Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll probably reorder it, reorganize it to put it in the correct spot. But yes, I do now own this, which means that it is officially a backlog game and not something that I'm just going to pass over because I spent some money on it. So we've got that going for us. But yeah, so that is, you know, the look ahead, the preview for week 25. We are getting close to halfway through the year. We are not quite there yet, and I really need to pick up the pace if I want to get through this backlog, which I really do. So that is where we're at. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, go ahead and let me know, and I will keep you updated every week for the rest of the year. There's no crazy events, no new games that I know of coming out this next week, so it should be pretty standard for next week, but I hope you are looking forward to it. So let me know, but I will see you then. So till next week, goodbye.